Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna give some time for everyone to jump into the call, but before we get started, I would just love to hear from anybody in the chat who's joining us today. I see some people joining in from our listings. How are you celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month? I know here at Latinas in Tech, we have been ramped up all month with just so much content, and it's been a blessing to see everybody just so engaged. To all of our sponsors and attendees and speakers, we're greatly appreciative of all of your time and your effort. But and in chat, let's hear it. How is your month going so far? What's been the highlight of Hispanic Heritage Month, whether it be in your organizations, within your family and community? We'd love to hear that from you all. Don't be shy. Let's hear from you all. Awesome. It has definitely been awesome to see everybody embracing the cultura this month for sure. Thank you so, so much. The cooler weather has been great. Where are you located, Jose? I'd like to hear that. That's awesome. I know just before this call was mentioning here, I'm actually located here in Chicago. It's any of you Midwesterners here in the call. Definitely. Oh, Chicago for sure. It's been a very interesting summer for sure, but I think that the weather here is always unpredictable, so I can never tell whether or not it's going to be cooler or hot. But definitely would love to hear from anybody here joining us today. As far as Hispanic Heritage Month, how have you been celebrating this month? How have you been engaged? As we allow a little bit more time for people to join our call. Well, as mentioned, my name is Juana Estrada, and I am part of Latinas in Tech, and I'm here to help you all and also be moderating today's conversation with our panelist here from Home Depot. So I'm really excited to just join all of you today with our conversation joining about Home Depot and what is to offer behind engineering, marketing, and sales here in the organization. But before we get started, and for anybody here who is new to our network, I highly encourage you all to register and become one of our members to our latinasintech.org. You can find the link here on the left side of our screen. And maybe some of you guys are wondering, what do we do and how do we support our network? Well, to anybody here who is both an ally or Latina, we provide opportunities for you guys to connect with organizations like Home Depot Today, or also to network with women who are like yourself, trying to just raise up their ranks within their organizations or learn more about mentorship opportunities within their organizations. And we do that with recruiting events, representation events, and also professional development opportunities. And as mentioned, as part of our network, you'll be offered opportunity to network with women all across our globe, with over 20 chapters across the country, with 23 nationalities and over 400 companies who are sponsors to our organization. So I highly encourage you again to go onto our website, and as part of that, you'll be access to all of our job portals and job opportunities. And again, go onto our website; it's free of charge as well. And before we begin today's conversation, I highly encourage you all to engage in today's conversation through the chat. If you have any questions for our panelists, I would suggest using the Q&A button that is found on the bottom panel. But feel free to connect on the chat. Use the chat as a way to network, as a way to connect one another. But if you have questions for our panelists, please use the Q&A button for that portion of the event. And without further ado, I will now love to ask our panel to join us here on screen, and I'm going to invite Angie to give a quick little intro. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angie Amata, and I was born in Barranquilla, Colombia. My mom and I moved to the States when I was about 2 years old, and so I've lived at or near Atlanta most of my life. My career journey, I would say I can describe it as, if I can sum it up in one word, I would say it's a pivot. When I first graduated from high school, I went to school for photography, and I worked for a few years as a studio manager. And then the last recession happened, and I lost my job when the housing bubble burst. So I decided I wanted to go back to school for marketing. mostly because I decided that I wanted to be around the big and creative idea, but I didn't necessarily want to be responsible for creating it. And so I decided to work on the advertising side for about 10 years as an account services manager. And I was lucky to work on some great accounts, but I wanted to pivot again and do more of like an operations project management style role, and also work internally for a brand as opposed to on the agency side. And so I found this position at the Home Depot in a contractor role, and was converted to full-time pretty quickly. So that was I was lucky for that. And I'm actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary as an orange-blooded Home Depot associate. I actually just got my patch. I don't know if everybody can see it. Yeah. So yeah, I love the team that I'm on, and I love getting to do things like this with my wonderful panelists.
Thank you so much, Angie. And like, as mentioned, we're going to be talking a little bit more too about this new platform which is available to organizations, which is Retail Media, which I really would love to hear more about, kind of how you guys were involved in this collaboration to bring this to light. But we do have two more panelists involved, and I would like to now bring to the screen Ivan. Give me 1 second. If you don't mind giving a
All
quick
right.
intro.
Yeah, Angie, congrats on the year. I can't believe it's been a year. That's awesome. So, hola todo el mundo. I am Ivan Peña. I am the senior manager for advertiser experience for the Retail Media Plus monetization team here at the Home Depot. I have been with Home Depot for 2 years, tomorrow, believe it or not. So wish me a happy work anniversary tomorrow on LinkedIn if you remember. I have 25 years experience in working in technology and in marketing agencies and different agency roles. So I've been in both sides, either marketing for technology or helping to sell technology and or other services. Before I joined Home Depot, I spent almost 8 years at Rakuten. Rakuten is the kind of the Amazon of Japan. And they had a performance marketing business that's global, that I was able to not only use my client services experience in that role, using my international, viewpoints, right? I managed and launched the first Mexican affiliate marketing programs. We helped expand into Brazil. Definitely using the fact that as a native speaker, I was able to have an edge, right? To against some other people, not against, but that other people on the team didn't have. So I really leaned into that, and it helped me develop my my business acumen, and it brought me here to the Home Depot to help build out a section of this Retail Media Plus business. So I'm very excited to share some of what the business is about and how it's the hottest new trend in marketing, and how, if you're interested, how you can kind of keep your eyes open to see where the opportunities are coming. So thank you again for having us. It's a pleasure to be here and try to impart some knowledge, wisdom, tips, and learn from you guys as well. So
Thank you so much for that. I feel like also too, just congratulations to both here on the panel. It sounds like at Home Depot, it's a great place to work at. If you guys are already celebrating 2 years, a year, so congratulations to you both. And last but not least, we also have our third panelist, Juan. Gonna add you to the stage. Hi, Juan.
Hello, hola a todos. I'm Juan Carlos Peña, distinguished engineer for marketing and advertising experience. It sounds like a very fancy role, but really isn't. So my career story starts when I was about, I would say 9 or 10 years old. I think Ivan can back me up on this because we are brothers. I've always had a passion for software development. When we were very young, we actually developed and sold a floppy disk. Well, Ivan didn't sell it; I sold it, right? But there was some scientific formula, programs in there and everything. It was really, really, really fun, right? And then after that, much to Angie's story, I kind of pivoted to film. I did get a degree in film, and I worked in film for quite a bit. Was a bit successful there. Was also a tech director for a film festival. But then at a very young age, I think I was 23 when I started my own company, developing websites and applications later on, and then an end-to-end kind of marketing for our clients. It was a huge learning experience in all respects. That entrepreneur experience really came in handy when I pivoted to my role at Mailboxes, et cetera, for Latin America. I was CTO there for about 7 years. I strongly believe in Latin America, right, as a region and its potential and how untapped it is, right, both from a market perspective and above all talent perspective. So much talent, right? So I brought a few innovative products to light there, focused on Mexico, Dominican Republic, which is where I'm from, the Colombia as well, and really grew the business there during my tenure. And then I eventually landed here at the Home Depot, where I've been able to apply those experiences and help my team grow and kind of see kind of a more global perspective on things, right? Which I think is something we all bring to the table here.
Absolutely. It just sounds, just from hearing so far, you all have a really great perspective on the importance of Latinidad and my Latino community within these medias and these realms of organizations. So definitely we'll tap into that conversation further into the discussion. But before I begin, I just would really love to learn more about this whole retail media and how it's this hottest trend right now in marketing. I know I sound like a sales pitch, but I really am intrigued and want to learn more about it. So first and foremost, Ivan, if you don't mind talking a little bit more about it, and also too, just how did you build this team from scratch as well?
Yeah, happy to share. So, all right, retail media, right? Lowercase rm, retail media, the practice, so what it is, there's been this trend where, Google, as the big tech giant in the room, the controller of many people's fates and traffic, right? They also were the ones that introduced cookies really into marketing. They were the ones that really made cookies a thing, right? Like really made it so that marketers had to rely on cookies. And if you don't know what a cookie is, it's just how a web browser kind of tracks your behavior. I'm simplifying, Juan, don't judge me. But if I'm off, let me know. So long story short, Google made this push and got everybody hooked on cookies. But what happened? Google says, too many calories. Let's get rid of cookies, right? We're not good. Teeth are rotting out. We got to have less cookies in the world. So they started shifting into this world where first-party data ended up becoming more important than those third-party cookies that can be picked up along the way. So when that shift started happening, people started talking, you saw more and more retailers, especially, realizing that they are keepers of first-party information. Every retailer owns their customer information, right? And generally, retailers, the good thing about retailer customers is that they're literally there to buy. So retail media, right, is the practice of turning your website as a retailer, right? Think of any retailer you can think of, our competitor across the street, our competitor in blue, which we won't say their name, but Instacart has a program. Any Target, Walmart, everybody has a retail media program. So what retailers have done is turn their websites into a publisher website, meaning that you sell advertising space on your site. And generally the advertising space, it's either some sort of banner advertising on your homepage or on a category page, or it can be a product listing ad. Essentially, if you have search results, you can essentially boost individual products based on how much those suppliers are willing to invest. And that's where it really works. It's when you have a retailer with multiple suppliers that provide product, it's a great way to get those suppliers that are going to invest money in marketing anyways, right? They're going to invest in wherever they're selling their product. They're going to invest money to drive traffic to those websites. So as a retailer, right, Home Depot realized this, and we're just trying to get our supplier partners to become our advertisers by investing their advertising dollars into our ecosystem. Now, we operate like a publisher. We have ads on our website, but we also leverage information, right? Not personally identifiable information. We don't know who the person is, but we have some audience modeling that allows us to find Home Depot shoppers wherever they are on the internet, including content websites, including social media like Facebook and Pinterest, including Google, right? Google Shopping. There's many ways that we're always looking to expand and be able to offer targeted advertising to Home Depot shoppers wherever they are, right? The right message at the right time to the right person. So that's what retail media, the practice is, right? Leveraging your own first-party data to provide a more targeted and unique advertising experience for those suppliers within your ecosystem that want to invest into getting more shoppers. It's a wonderful thing for retailers because we're just making it easy for people to spend money to drive traffic back to our own website. It's fantastic. And then the brands win because their brands get more visibility within our store. it's a win-win-win, right? So when I joined 2 years ago, the business had been started. There was a scrappy group of salespeople that were just figuring stuff out. And you know what? They did a pretty good job. Within a retailer, a 40-year-old retailer like Home Depot, it's really hard to come in and say, hey, I have this new startup idea that operates like a publisher and an agency that's completely contrary to what we do as a core business, right? So they did a lot with what they had. But we've really grown up the program over the last 2 years. I came in and I established a billing team. I established an ad ops team. Essentially, a lot of the operations functions were missing. So came in using my experience in technology and process improvement, and just, again, 20 years of managing people on top of the extra years of working. We were able to kind of build this team, and it's been growing quickly, and really excited for the future because we're doing great, right? We are making progress every day. But the stuff that we've done so far is not what's exciting. What's exciting is the partnership that, for example, all three of us have here that is going to help enable the future of what we're doing and really take this thing up to the stratosphere. And that is, we can't talk about numbers and talk about things that are more proprietary, but I can tell you that the retail media, lowercase retail media industry is worth 100 billion US, $100 billion. And that number keeps going up because whereas at first, a lot of the retail media programs, even ours and our competitors, they leverage a lot of the shopper marketing budgets, right? It's more like trade budgets, like money that's already going to be spent to help drive sales. But what we have an opportunity to do is really go deeper into upper funnel budgets, right? Branding, video, more of the branding dollars that are being spent. And that's where it's going to come, because again, you're going to get data, you're going to get targeted ads, and you're going after a specific segment that you already know what they're looking for. So it's a great proposition. And just in the Retail Media Plus is the name of our offering, of our company, so to speak, right? Retail Media Plus. And what we do is we offer platforms, right? Self-service advertising platforms that our advertisers can go in and create campaigns on their own to show up on homedepot.com, or they can place an order for those off-site campaigns to the third parties. But we also offer service, right? If you're an advertiser for certain tier investment, right? If you're willing to invest in us, we're willing to dedicate teams to those people to make sure that they get the best media plans possible, that they get the best data and the best reporting, the best service, right? It's all about service, because at Home Depot, we believe that if we take care of our customers, the rest works itself out, right? So we're taking care of our advertisers, and then the rest works itself out. So that's retail media. It's the new hotness in advertising and marketing. If you don't know about it, if you have an affinity for data, an affinity for customer behavior, you have an affinity for just problem solving. And I know that, I don't know, like I see that natively in a lot of Hispanics. It's like this curiosity to really figure things out and really dig deep and just try to really find the root of things. Like, this is a great place for you to come. We love creativity. We love passion, right? We want to bring these traits in because that's what we need to really evolve this space. Everybody's getting in on it. Every retailer with any kind of level of success is doing this. So it's all about how do we create the best experience? And that's bringing the right people with the perfect attitude to get it done.
And definitely, Evan, you have that attitude 100%. So bravo for that. And I also just want to acknowledge too, like how incredible it is to sit right now with all three of you, knowing that you guys are trailblazing this as Latinos with this organization too. Because it's important to recognize that, right? It's like, as you said, it's engraved in our Hispanic culture that we are people who are constantly, trying to problem solve and figure out ways to work more effectively as a team, right? So it's really, really awesome to see you all kind of touch more about this. But I do want to touch base a little bit more on the personalization of the whole retail media team connections within that, right? So I want to ask you, Juan, how did you do your teams, and how did you guys all help build this a stronger connection within customers, right? We know kind of what retail media is on the more technical branding side, right? But on the customers facing side, how did you guys connect those connections with customers?
Sure. I mean, back to Ivan's statement, we always ensure that our customers are first, right? We do everything for our customers, take care of them, right? We're constantly thinking of initiatives through the lens of our customer back approach, right? Even at an enterprise level, everybody, from our CEO on down, right? As well as identifying and adding value to that customer journey. Where can we, how can we better lay out our pages so that, it leads to more engagement from our customers, less bounce rate, which is when you just leave a page when you don't find what you need, right? So this is constantly top of mind and constantly a main point, right? And not just for retail media. In my area, I cast a bit of a wider net into what a customer is. Sometimes it's our business partners. Sometimes it's our own internal creative teams. It can be vendors in retail media's case, right? Finance, others all across the company, and they're all considered, you know, depending on the solution we're developing and depending on what the focus is there. We're starting with that customer back approach, right? And we you know, on the other hand, we also build for security and scale, right? Privacy is a huge issue these days to every customer, right? Our cloud first approach to designing our systems really place a focus on that data privacy and security before our solutions even go out and see the light of day. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Juan. And to you, Angie, just to kind of pull it all together, how did your teams work cross-functionally to across, you know, marketing, online technology? How did that all come together in building those connections?
Yeah, we actually have a great set of resources, both with our internal marketing, media, and creative services teams, but also we have great external agency partners. And this gives us the opportunity to bring many different perspectives when we're trying to solve a problem, when we're looking to, you know, really sell a product or sell a service. But sometimes that can feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And so to make sure that it's organized chaos, not disorganized chaos, our teams really prioritize strong processes. So with our supporting project management organizations, analytics teams, and those types of resources. And that is actually what I help with as a marketing analyst on the marketing tech operations team. We will build out and support the processes so the creative, project management, retail media teams can execute those strategies.
Got it. Got it. It makes a lot of sense. And I think just from touching on that point, you know, and I know a lot of people on our call are asking questions in the chat or in the Q&A, but as far as kind of when hiring within your teams, right, for this project itself, like what type of backgrounds do you guys look for as far as skills, experience, and knowledge within retail media, right? So what are you looking for as far as skill sets and experience when people are getting hired? Anybody want to jump on that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. Since I'm kind of I'm more on the business side of things, right? Right now, I'm standing up different teams to help. Again, like we find needs and we figure out what kind of team we need and we just go and do it, right? So I've noticed that as we evolve our services and our platforms, there's a greater need for account managers, right? Like that type of role. And what I've noticed is that yes, you can have retail media experience, and that's you know, it's not a requirement to come work for my team, for example, right? For me, I think I can teach people how to do a job, right? What I need is creativity, passion, great communication skills. I need somebody who has an emotional intelligence, right? Who has that ability to talk to someone and understand where they are. Like to me, those things are more important than you checking a box that says, I've used Google platforms for 2 years. You know, like that's very nice, right? It definitely helps to have that. But we've already hired people that maybe didn't have a strong agency background or a lot of technology experience and come in and do a great job just because the values of the Home Depot align so well with that mindset that it just kind of encourages people to just do their best, you know, at least that's what we've seen. So definitely agency experience is nice, right? For the roles that I'm looking for. Platform, you know, technology platform experience, mainly around like social media campaigns or paid search campaigns. Like if you have some experience, or affiliate marketing campaigns too. By the way, affiliate marketers would do great in the retail media space. So if you are currently an affiliate marketer and you're thinking about changing disciplines, retail media could be a really good place because that relationship building aspect will have a lot of value as you're like standing up internal teams and really working the relationships to get things going. So yeah, so for me, again, right mindset, right attitude, you know, some knowledge of how the digital ecosystem works is kind of, it's needed. But again, I'd rather take a hit on that. I mean, you can't come in and not know what a computer is. Obviously, we're gonna have to draw the line there. But you know, as long as you understand how platforms work and you have some experience, that's okay. I'd rather see that service experience, that mindset, that attitude, that hunger, that curiosity, and not just, talking the talk, but, but really embodying that feeling. So it's like really being that. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm hearing that it's valuable for sure is to have those strong soft skills. What I think is really important to hear, especially within such a large organization like Home Depot, right, is that you're looking on the more business side for those strong soft skills, which I want to definitely highlight right now in the chat as we're getting some comments. Like, definitely those are very much so skills that you can build on, right, wherever you are in any department. So thank you so much for highlighting that. But also too, I want to hear from either Juan or Angie, like on the more technical marketing side, like are there any specific like programs you're looking for, degrees, years of experience as far as like kind of onboarding on the team?
Yeah, I honestly would second a lot of what I've been saying is I think having someone eager to learn, someone who's willing to ask questions, even somebody who is really interested in getting down and dirty into data. Data can tell such rich stories if you know how to read it. What was successful, what failed, what may be worth trying again. Those things are really invaluable. I agree with him is that, hard skills, you can learn them, but soft skills get you a lot farther. You can learn a lot more. I would also say, just since this is a Latinas in Tech panel, as Latinos, I think it's important for us to all remember to be our authentic selves. Code switching can really only get you so far if you aren't being yourself. Your culture is who you are, and it's really how you can differentiate yourself. I mean, that we are so lucky to be part of, such a rich culture and so many different cultures that I think that is important to also bring to the table whenever you can.
Thank you so much for highlighting that too, and I think that is so relevant. And I think we've heard that a lot within our last couple of weeks of Hispanic Heritage Month. But definitely owning your Latinidad, right? Being your authentic self and showing up as that in any place you are is going to get you a lot further, right, in life. And like I said, code switching is super relevant to our culture and people who work within these large orgs. But thank you so much for highlighting that. So I'm hearing again, soft skills, guys. Soft skills is the way to go when it comes to getting on board with Home Depot. Anything you want to add to this one?
Well, just the fact that I'm a film major and that I'm here, right? I mean, it's a very people focused company. It's all about those soft skills, right? And there's a huge drive for diversity as well. I just got invited to the to our DEI council, for retain and advance council, right? For that, we do have internal programs to help balance out things across the company, right? And we're huge believers, especially here in technology, about diversity of thought and approaching a problem in creative and different ways and diverse ways. I know we're all just amazing at that by by our own upbringing, right? So it's just part of it. Definitely a huge part of it.
I love that you mentioned, the diversity of thought, which is super important. I think it's also something that I think most organizations should approach more of, right? I think that's something awesome to highlight about Home Depot. And as we wrap up kind of our conversation, I would just like to ask you all, we're ending Hispanic Heritage Month pretty soon, but I would love to hear more about what it means for you to be Hispanic, but also to this month in general. Like, how has this been something important for you in organizations, but also in your personal career lives? Anybody want to hop on that one?
Sure. I
I'll
mean,
go for it. Go
say
for it.
we're all eager to share, right? I think it's a celebration. It's a great opportunity to kind of bring to light all these achievements, all this history, all this diversity, that we have, and it's an opportunity to really break down some stereotypes as well. To be honest with you, I'm sure you're all we're all kind of we get comments sometimes, right? And it's just about creating awareness and kind of opening things up. Yeah, the Hispanic versus Latina thing is one, right?
Yeah, I hear you. As a light-skinned Dominican, I get a lot of like, what? You're Dominican? Like, yeah, man. Like the Hispanics, Latinos, we come in all different colors. That's part of what makes us what we are, right? The whole melting of all the cultures. That is where our heritage comes from, right? So I'm with Juan here. I mean, you got to just celebrate it, enjoy it. I know that the stereotypes can be damaging, but sometimes I just lean into them because you know what? Some stereotypes, like we're family oriented, loud, we love to dance and love food. I mean, sign me up, right? Like, who cares, But I believe that be yourself, right? Like, be who you are. Like Angie mentioned that earlier. It's like that's the best advice. Just be yourself. Don't be anybody else, right? Just be who you are. Show up as yourself. If they like you, they'll keep you. If they don't like you, it wasn't for you. Find your tribe, right? So just, and again, Hispanics, we're, even though we're not one block of people, we're a very diverse set of different nationalities, right? So, but Hispanics are the largest, the fastest growing segment of the population in this country, right? Like, hello, you know what I mean? Like we are the future, and be yourself. And I feel like we are just an inclusive culture anyways. We love people. I mean, that's at least my experience. I don't want to speak on anybody else's experience, but I can tell you that from my perspective, it's all positive, right? It feels good. And we can speak Spanish behind people's back, which is great. Sometimes that comes in handy.
Absolutely love that. So, so true. Angie, we'd love to hear from you as
Yeah.
my fellow Latinas in tech, for sure.
Yeah, I want to just second what Juan and Ivan say. To me, I think it's a great opportunity to be reminded that we're not a monolith. Each country is going to have its own distinct culture. The food is going to be different in Colombia than in Cuba. For example, I cannot eat Cuban empanadas. It has to be a Colombian empanada. It really does. I don't like them. I'm sorry. The weather's going to be different. The people are going to look different. The music's going to be different. And, every country's history is different. And it's a great opportunity that Hispanic Heritage Month can give to highlight that. And I'll just, get a little bit, I'll get a little candid. I think it's also a great reminder that everybody looks different and has different perspectives about their heritage. I personally sometimes suffer from, slight imposter syndrome because I was raised in the States in a mostly white neighborhood, and I lost a little bit of my cultural touch point as a child that I've been really struggling to get back. And I think that's interesting because I don't feel Colombian enough all the time. I don't feel Hispanic enough. And I think some of the things that I've actually learned even this year and last year is I'm not alone in that. A lot of times, it can sometimes feel like a competition to feel like you are part of your cultura, and it's, you don't have to. It's like, I am who I am. And part of that is that, I have one foot in America, one foot in Colombia, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And I think it's important and I thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing that, because I think it's important to remember that this month in general is also a space for us Latinos and Hispanics to learn more about each other, right? So I think it's just important to acknowledge that as we're growing and as we're learning and as we're increasing in population here in the US, that we're also learning more about our culture in general. I know for myself, every day as being Mexican American, same experience for me, right? So I hear you all. But thank you so much for all of you for just sharing your experiences and learning more about what you guys are doing here at Home Depot. I think it's awesome. And kudos to you, Ivan, for just being so knowledgeable about retail media. I think for sure after today, I'm going to go out there and sales pitch on this for sure. Even though myself, I am not in retail media, but I think I'm knowledgeable now enough to say, you know what? I was taught today about this. But I would like to now pass it on to the audience members. I know we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. So thank you so much to all of you who have been adding to the chat and the Q&A section. We still have some more time left, so please feel free to engage more and ask questions. But we do have some questions here, and I want to address one of them to Angie. It says, Angie, you mentioned making the transition from agency to in-house. How does one go about that transition between those two?
I will admit that was a little bit of I had to figure that out because a lot of my networking contacts were all agency side. But what I ended up doing is I found a contracting company, and that's how I was able to get in. But I used my agency contacts to see who they knew on the client side, what clients they had worked for, what connections they had. I think a big thing to do when you're looking for a job is informational interviews, having the opportunity to just talk to somebody and, get an insight into who they are. And then also see, this is what I'm looking for. Do you know of anybody else I can talk to? One informational interview can lead to another informational interview that can lead to another informational interview. And eventually that can get you connected with somebody that can help you land a job, either agency side or brand side.
Juanita, I actually made that jump too. So Rakuten's advertising business into Home Depot. And I want to say, you got to, it takes a certain person to really thrive in an agency environment, right? You need to be comfortable with a certain type of chaos. But the thing is, you have a lot of not that you don't get deep in relationships, but you have a bunch of superficial relationships with clients with a specific goal of you being subservient to them, right? As an agency, you're just there to crank and get the money out, right? When you switch to in-house, it like focuses your world to one brand, but the depth of knowledge that you need to thrive in that one brand is a lot. And definitely add the fact that we're building something new within Home Depot that operates like an agency. It's like there's no parallel, right? So but it's definitely helpful, because if you have agency experience coming into an organization with retail media, you're doing the same thing. It's just a different approach. So that actually translates really well if you're getting into retail media. And I just wanted to, because I know Angie mentioned imposter syndrome, I just want to give this one bit of a tip that I've given before is don't fake it till you make it. I hate that. Be you, own what you know. Don't come in with that defeating attitude out of the gate, right? Don't put that on your own brain. Own who you are in your experience and represent that, not the things that you don't know, because that's just going to make your relationship with your employer or whoever, right, just better in the long run. And it's just easier. You don't have to keep up two people in your head. Just be you, be one person, be the human that shows up to work with everything they got, right? Don't try to, at least for me, I've had a lot more peace of mind since I stopped doing that. Stop bifurcating this like perfect person over here that's very buttoned up and straight laced. And then there's this like cool Latino guy who likes to have fun, you know, like just put them together, come into work with joy and have a good time. And you know, don't fake anything. You're only wasting your own energy doing that. So I just wanted to share that because, you know, people struggle with that. Listen, we all I struggle with it all the time. That's normal. You know, not being sure about what you're doing is normal. Don't think that that's not normal. That is literally the most normal thing that can happen. So anyway, so sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to drop that nugget in.
No, absolutely. I thank you so much for highlighting that again. I think, it's super true. Someone also mentioned to me this week that, imposter syndrome, the best way to eliminate it is to just ignore it, right? You can't be an imposter if you show up as yourself every single day, right? Because you're 9% anybody, right? So it's agreed to both of you as that, show up as yourself, be you, even if, you don't have all the answers, that's okay. Your job is not to have all the answers, right? So thank you so much for that. And the chat for sure is clapping and amening to that for sure.
Yeah, and one thing that I will also add is that as a demographic, and I'll overgeneralize a little bit, but I do think it's true, is that a lot of us, because we might be first generation, we might be second generation, there is a lot of generational trauma that can potentially need to be unpacked and broken, and that's okay if that takes some time to learn how to be yourself, learn how to not always, as personally for me, like I have always struggled with not doing that, basically being like, I got it, I understand what I'm doing, because there is that type A-ness on myself where you always have to prove that you know what you're doing and prove that the sacrifices that were made for you to be where you are were well worth it. And so that's okay if that takes a little bit of time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to you both on highlighting that. We do have a lot of very specific questions regarding kind of just retail media plus and the job opportunities within that career, and I'm gonna just jumble them some together. One of them is, can you guys explain a little bit more on the org structure on retail media plus and the different teams within the organization? And then someone also asked you, where does social media fall in those departments? So whoever.
Yeah, I'll give a quick highlight. So Retail Media Plus, the core business is just two main parts, right? Sales and monetization. That's the big. So essentially, people that are going out there and trying to get money committed to be spent in retail media, and then the teams that ensure that we have the right products and the right pipes to serve those ads, right, in the most effective way possible. We work with a lot of cross-functional teams across Home Depot that aren't necessarily part of the retail media structure, retail media plus structure. But again, this is a business within Home Depot, so we get to enjoy the benefits of being part of the Home Depot by having all these additional teams that can help us do what we need to do. So, but as far as core retail media work, you're generally falling into a sales category, right? So if you're a person that has agency sales experience, enterprise sales, B2B sales, especially media sales, if you've worked at any of the large social media companies or any of the big tech the FANGs of the world, right? It's always a good thing. And then on the monetization side, there's so many diverse skill sets. There's there's data science, right? There's just product management, project management, but there's product strategy, and there's ad ops, a whole arm of ad ops, and we have billing and finance operations and platform solutions, including, so there's really, it's a company all on its own. So we're looking for all skill sets when it comes to a tech and services agency. So that's the beauty. So and to answer the social media question, is social media is just one of the channels that we leverage in our campaigns, right? So we can run Facebook and Pinterest campaigns, for example, and leverage our audience information to target those ads beyond just what's available on those platforms. So if you have social media experience, you can come into retail media and bring that experience, right? You can either join the paid social center of excellence that we have on our team that helps activate campaigns, or you can come learn and join the ad ops team and do managed service campaigns on behalf of our advertisers, or you come on as a subject matter expert for our self-service business and teach people about the value of social media. So again, and it's growing every day. Like my team didn't exist 3 months ago, like the new team I'm building, right? I've already gone through 3 iterations of teams since I've been here in 2 years. We're growing like this. So if you don't see your what you want today in retail media on the career website at Home Depot, that's fine. Just give it time. It's going to be there eventually. So that's the beauty of what we're doing. It's exciting. It's moving and growing fast.
Right.
It's just, you got to hold on. You got to hold on to that horse and just hope you don't get bucked off,
Get on board. Don't ask questions, just keep doing. But I do want to highlight too, because we did a lot of questions on the chat and also too in the Q&A about how to apply to Retail Media Plus jobs. And we have a lot of links being shared right now in the chat, so please feel free to jot notes on that. And someone did mention too to highlight that you met our team here today in your application process. So definitely for sure, go onto the website and apply to jobs that are offered to you there now. We do have some questions too related to perspective in the workplace, and I know right now in this hybrid world that we're living in, how would you guys say or describe your experience working remotely or hybrid, right? Would you say that, within your organization it's applaud, or is it welcome, or is it, flexible? Like, how has it been for you as a team?
Yeah, I can start by saying there that I've been remote for about the past 5 years. I've been at the Home Depot for only 8 months now, right? And our IT org is remote first, right? It's all about remote, and we're all remote. I'm in New York City. We don't have offices here, but I'm still, I was still hired, and I still, work here every day, right? And make it work as a remote employee, right? We have a lot of hybrid meetings, right? Things that take place in person with just a camera there pointing at, right? But mostly it is online. I mean, our teams do go in for like team building events and just the general like social get-together, social hours, right? But in the IT org, that's kind of how it works.
And Home Depot as a company, they've done a great job. I'm also fully remote, but I do live about 10 minutes from the headquarters. So if I do need to run into the office, I can. But the thing that I have really appreciated about is that became, employees became remote because of COVID. But that was something that, because the employees really wanted that as a permanent opportunity and an option, the company really thought about, well, what do you need to do your job? Like, do you need to be in person? Do you need to be hybrid? Do you need to be remote? And so because of that, it's been a great clean way to be like, okay, you can do your job remotely, you're going to be remote. If you do need to come in a couple days a week, you can. And if you do need to be in person 5 days a week because you need to do your job, that is what's required. And so that's been nice. But I think my team personally, we've done a great job of, especially the ones that are local as well, having those hybrid and in-person touch points. I actually literally today went to lunch with my boss and my teammate. Shout out Michelle and Lynn. I love you guys. Just so that we could, be together and see each other. And then Michelle went to a meeting at the headquarters. And so, you find an opportunity to have those in-person touch points while also working remotely, because that is something that is the new normal post-COVID. And that's something that is important to a lot of the associates at Home Depot.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that you guys, how you mentioned at Home Depot, it's been very flexible in understanding the needs of people's work styles. I think that in this new reality that we live in, we've been recognized that like people work in different styles and that is okay too, right? It's part of who you are as an employee, right? You're not just this machine that shows up 9 to 5 and does their job, right? So that's really, really awesome. We do have some questions here as far as kind of just speaking more on just like your experience as being Hispanic and just working in the workplace. I have this question from Victoria. It says, I love how you guys mentioned problem solving as a Hispanic trait. Or there are other ways that you bring your perspective into the workplace as, Latinos, right? So I know problem solving is definitely one that I know us Latinos love to do and do it very well. But what else would you say that has been a perspective that's been able to help you with your workplace?
Well, for me has really been like we say we have a family atmosphere, right? And like I feel, at least again, to quote my favorite sketch from SNL, I come from a big Dominican family. And I try to bring that into like the workplace, right? Treat people how I would treat Juan when I see him, for a gathering. Just talk to them treat them as people, treat them as people that add value to your life, even if the value sometimes is negative, right, or poisonous at times at work. It can be a little toxic, but in general, like, just that's part of having family, right? Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not, but just having that, I don't know, I feel like it's a very inclusive culture. Like I know that everybody has different experiences, but I feel that my experience as a Hispanic wherever I go is we try to be more inclusive and bring people along and just have a good time while we're doing it. And man, I love that. That makes my day so much more enjoyable, just to approach it from that perspective. So I would say just embrace that sense of community, and that kind of that love for people that are your family and your circle, your tribe, your people, that definitely bring that in, because it's only gonna help, I think.
I would
Juan?
add, I would add to that. Yeah, just the global perspective. We all have the privilege of, if we weren't born in the U.S., right? Like I wasn't. We we come from countries that are connected to the U.S. in a lot of ways, right? So we, I feel that that experience, that global perspective of being able to kind of see a market from different, angles, is also very helpful. When we're going out and we're trying to innovate, to differentiate ourselves, right? I think that's a main piece of the puzzle there.
It's actually a really good point. And not forgetting that, again, it's also not that different either. They're normal people consuming the same stuff at the end of the day that we all consume. Like, we're all, I'm sure that everywhere you go, Game of Thrones is going to be something that everybody can kind of rally around, right? Or whatever Netflix show we're watching.
Not
Or
after that last season, Ivan.
I know the last season was terrible, but House of the Dragon is really making up for it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, yeah, we're a diverse, different ecosystem of nations, right? But we have that kind of more global perspective, and some of us are bilingual and understand that in the world there is more than one language, right? Like, and it's just, Juan, I think you nailed it. I think that's a really important point.
And I also want to say thank you so much for bringing that up, Juan, because it is very true. I think Latinos do bring that global perspective that anywhere you go, right, especially with your organization with Retail Media Plus, like it's needed to provide that perspective from all angles, especially when you're thinking about personalized branding. It's going to come in handy if you can speak multiple languages and come from different cultures, right? You can definitely understand too the more nuances that come with those branding aspects. So very, very important. And it's awesome to hear that. We have more questions too, so I want to definitely be able to answer these, but it's awesome to hear these perspectives from you all. I do have a question as far as, if you're a recent grad, and I think this is also really valuable for our audience members here at Latinas in Tech. A large population here are either recent grad or coming into tech for the first time. But when you're struggling to find your first job, how would you suggest having your foot in the door, whether it be within if you're a film degree student, right, trying to break into tech, or you already have some agency experience and you want to shift different agencies, like how would you say approaching that the best way when it's your first time doing so?
Sure. I can take that, right? Yes, I did start my own company that sort of made it easy for me to develop, my own tech and get a name that way. But here at the Home Depot, we really look at each, person that wants to come on board individually, and it's a lot less about those technical skills as it is the people skills. We So feel free to apply, feel free to approach us, because if it's, we have an apprenticeship program, we have an intern program that'll get you right out of college, right? I think applications are open now for that, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely a place for you to apply to that internship if you are interested. Yeah, but we're very welcoming. So please reach out if you need any advice or anything like that. I'm definitely eager to talk.
Definitely, and I do see in the chat that there has been some links shared too. So, as Juan mentioned, please feel free to go ahead and, yes, I see it here. The student internship program. Definitely go ahead and apply. To anybody here on the call who is a recent grad or looking into tech, um, job opportunities like this, particularly with opportunities like Home Depot, offers you the space, right, to learn as you're going to, as mentioned, right. So definitely take advantage of this too. And are you guys open to sharing either like your LinkedIn information if anybody wants to connect with you outside? Definitely do so. I know people on here will probably have more questions to ask any of you guys, but please, I encourage you, if you guys can, to add that to our network. I know that we have two more questions, but again, we have some time left before we wrap up. So please use this time to ask questions to our amazing panel. It'll be really awesome to hear more about what they have to offer to you all. I do have a question here that says, are there any opportunities for boot camps for grads, like such as internships for college students? I think that was answered. The there's the careers at Home Depot / students internships that Ivan put in the chat. So definitely click on that and apply there. Let's see. Oh, this is a really good question from one of, it's anonymous, but I think it's a really valuable question to ask. How do you deal with discrimination in your life, particularly within the workplace? I think this is relevant to today. We'd love to hear more about your experience at Home Depot with this situation too, but just anybody who wants to chime in on this question.
You guys want me to be the first one up? So, thankfully that's not something I've had to deal with at Home Depot. And because I pretty much wear my, Latinidad on my sleeve, I don't think people have a lot of room to kind of discriminate. I don't know. I'm 6'3", 240 pounds. I'm a big guy. The last thing you want to do is come talking trash to me, because, I'll pile drive you. But in the past, yeah, people love to make comments and kind of joke. What I usually used to get a lot is language things like, you want a drinko? I'm like, no, it's not called a drinko. But I usually make fun of them back for that, and I try to, I understand at the end of the day that that discrimination is not coming from anything I'm doing. It's with that person that has that bad programming in them. And what I can do is just try to show them that that's just a waste of your own brain space to even, come from a negative place. Okay, listen, between Latinos, we make fun of each other all the time. And you have your Dominicans and your Puerto Ricans going at it, and your Colombians and Ecuadorians and Peruvians going at it, maybe, or whoever, right? There's always like, oh, the Mexicans and these guys, right? We do it to ourselves within ourselves, but it never feels in the same way. Like, right, it feels like more, it's part of the spirit of being a diverse population. So I don't know. To me, that's just I don't really deal with it. If I can avoid it, I meet it head on when I can. And thankfully, I haven't had a bad experience here at all. If anything, I think Juan and I have talked about it, is like we're kind of empowered here to try to be like trailblazers for Hispanics within Home Depot, because we can just do more of it. So we're hoping to just, if anybody is struggling with that at Home Depot, I would love to, if you're listening or somebody here can hear me, I would love to kind of work with you. And if you're not sure what to do there too, because again, I think the best thing to do is just have people in your corner that can back you up and help you get some perspective before you act in a way that could be damaging to you. Because again, if you react, you're the one that suffers from that, and you're not even the person that started it. So, people are going to do what they're going to do. Control what you can control, and that's your reaction, and that's just going to irk them more than anything. So,
very well said. Very, very well said. What anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say I feel actually that there's a good amount of diversity both on, from a lot of Hispanics at Home Depot that I work with, but also people that are part of the LGBTQ community. I will say that was not the case when I worked on the agency side. It was very homogeneous. It was very, I'll just say, like, especially on the creative side, it was a lot of like hipster white guys. And I never had discrimination per se, but I looked around and I didn't see anybody like me. And I think what happens is, it's people see themselves in, mentees and everything like that. And so, it's kind of a culture that builds of, I'm going to prop up people that are like me. And that's just what has happened, I think, especially on the agency side in the advertising world. And I see more of a concerted effort the past few years of combating that. But I think it is more that loud people like us, I think, need to do what, and I'm literally meaning myself and Ivan and Juan, because I know that they are loud, need to do what we can to, if we see people that are like us, or that even are not like us, people that are part of that, Black people, people that are part of the LGBTQ community, anything that, I think, because we understand being othered. And so it's like, how can we help other marginalized communities to succeed? I think that it's kind of a rising tide, what's the term? Yeah, rising tide elevates all ships. And I think that that's what, as this community, we need to be doing.
Wonderful point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Well done.
if you could change the system from the inside, then yeah, go ahead. That's why I joined that DEI council, right, to really be able to champion, right, ourselves, right, and kind of elevate those things, like Angie said, right. So yeah.
All very valuable points, and I've been mentioning this all evening, but thank you so much for just being vulnerable and sharing this. I think it's just important to remember that even though we're honoring Hispanic Heritage Month, these topics are relevant all year round. And just being very intelligent, trailblazing Latinos, seeing people like you speaking on this is doing a good portion of the job, right? And reminding us that it's important to break against those discriminations and stereotypes, because we're not that. And we're very, very well spoken, very, very loud, and we're also 6'2". So if you want to catch some smoke, then you can come find us somewhere.
I'm not. I'm 4'11", and at least before the pandemic, when I was in my flip flops all day, I would wear 3-inch heels because that way I could bounce. Now I can't do that. Now all of the calluses off my feet have gone away, and if I wear heels now, it's like I'm a newborn deer. I can barely walk.
Well, we have Ivan to back us up from that. We'll just all just rally up behind him, like he's not the one to mess with. But definitely, we appreciate it all. I think in the chat too, everybody here is just super proud, and just I hear lots of like amens and clapping. So thank you so much for all the engagement. But I think that wraps up today's conversation. And again, thank you so much to you all for being part of this conversation, and to all of our audience members. Again, please feel free to add on all those notes here. Everybody's sharing links. Again, go on to there. And most importantly, we continue to spread the word about what's happening here at Latinas in Tech and Home Depot, so people like myself and my family members can learn more about Retail Media Plus, of course. But thank you so much.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you so
No,
much.
well, I want to thank you guys for doing a great thing. Again, we need more Latinos in general, male and female, in technology.
Absolutely.
If you want to know, join up on LinkedIn, look me up, shoot me a note. It might take me a couple of days to get back to you, so don't take it personally. But man, anything we can do, I'm always there, always around. Maybe we need to do a part 2 just for us to keep talking, right? So happy to be here again. Great thing you guys are doing. As a dad of twin girls, half Dominican twin girls, and I would love for them to get into tech. This is the kind of opportunities I want them to be able to have, right? So let's do this. So thank you so much for the time. I love this.
Thank you so much to you all. Thank you. And I see you guys are also adding your LinkedIn. So yes, again, part 2. Everyone's saying part 2. Yes, for sure. The cross fingers that we see another part 2. I'm looking for. We have somebody here on the team. So just reeling you in. Part 2 is coming soon. But thank you so much to you all. Look forward to the recording link if anybody missed it today, and share it to all your network. But have a good rest of your evening, all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Gracias. Buenas noches.
Everyone, bye.